Hey everyone, hey, welcome to Biztainment Weekly. I am Scott Janney, your host. I am super excited about today's show. But before I do that, I want to thank Magazine Jukebox for being our sponsor on this. And of course, I'm partial because I am the CEO and co-founder. And but look, today's show, you're probably going to be listening to this post Thanksgiving. And so hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving and you had a good time with family and friends and it was safe. And you ate, what is that? You gobble till you wobble, something like that. And but yeah, just super excited for today's show. And thank you for joining us. And thanks for being here. If you like what we're doing, please be sure to like and share and comment. That helps a tremendous amount. And also, we'll be using this content to put on our website to bring more traffic. And then we can listen to your questions or your comments so that way we can dive into what's important to you. So without further ado, however, with our show, we always like to go into what we call our LinkedIn moment. So if you don't know what that is, LinkedIn moment is when we look for positive posts on LinkedIn and we share it. And we simply share what was written and we help drive traffic to their content and their posts because it's positive and we want to encourage that, right? Okay, great. So anyways, let's dive right into that LinkedIn moment. Okay, so hey guys, again, welcome to LinkedIn Moment. Welcome to Biztainment Weekly. Let's dive in. So Nasir Chris, he is the principal at 68 Capital. Him and I have chatted before. Granted, they didn't invest or they're not interested in Magazine Jukebox at this time. It's not on them. If you're a founder, you're a startup, trust me, you get a lot more no's than you do yeses. So nothing new there. But we appreciate what they're doing and the content that they're getting out and the people that they're helping. And so he posted about learn and practice these lessons at the first successful startup I worked at. These are valuable takeaways that directly translate to substantial growth at an earliest stage of your business. Cut out the noise and focus. Doing these things will make more than likely make your conversations and potential investors easier as well. Okay, so I'm going to take your advice on this. But he actually shared a post from Amanda Zhu, which is Amanda ZHU. And Amanda wrote 10 lessons learned going from 0 to 1 million ARR. ARR stands for annual recurring revenue in 8 months. 1, if you can get 1 customer, you can get 10. If you can get 10 customers, you can get 100. 2, you can either do one thing well or do multiple things poorly. Narrow your focus. 3, your sales problem is actually a product problem. If your product actually delivers value, you'll be able to close deals fast. 4, everything that's not building product and selling is a distraction. 5, don't outsource sales. Do founder-led sales until closing every deal feels dead simple. 6, disqualifying prospects is just as important as qualifying them. 7, going from 0 to 100,000 is harder than going from 100,000 to a million. And the last one here, or actually there's 2 more. If you find yourself avoiding something, it's probably important. And then 9, raw hours make a difference. It's interesting. Okay, I lied. I said 2. There's 3. 10, PMF. I don't know what that stands for. Only has 2 components. Make a product your users love and find a way to reach more users. This is great stuff. And, Amanda, this is awesome. She's also the co-founder at recall.ai. And she said startups are hard. Finding something that works typically takes way longer than expected. Totally agree with that. And then she finishes out with, but you can do it. So, and I'm paraphrasing because I cut it off at the bottom. But check out that post and go find her, and you may want to follow her. I know I'm going to. Okay, the next post, this is kind of interesting. So Julie Maloney, Maloney, I think I'm saying that, or Maloney. She's a content creator and editor with over 20 years in, it says. And she wrote this. She goes, my husband is dealing with a digestive issue. So I'm posting the recipes I'm making on my blog without any ads or long stories, just the recipe. I hope you enjoy this low FODMAP. It's all together, all capitalized. FODMAP chicken, potato, and carrot bake. So I know this doesn't necessarily sound positive, but here's where the positive turn on this is. Julie, I know that you and your husband are going through something here, so I'm going to be praying for you guys for sure. But the thing is that she's turning what is become a reality for her family into sharing with community. And that's what fellowship and community is all about, right? That's what we're all about here on social, is about community and making it positive. So she's turning something that's a trial or difficult for her, and she's turning it into something positive. I love that. Julie, thank you very much for posting that. Okay. So guys, look, that rounds out the LinkedIn moment. Went a little bit long there. Appreciate your patience. But it was some good stuff there. And, something that we can certainly take with us. But now is probably the most important part of the show. And this is when I take questions from my marketing team, who I don't always see eye to eye with. In fact, as we're recording this, like I said, you're going to be hearing this post-Thanksgiving, but this pre-Thanksgiving, we're discussing the importance of doing maybe a Black Friday sale versus doing a Cyber Monday sale, or do you do both? And that's a big question. Like, what do you do both, or do you not do both? And so, my thought was, hey, we should have a Black Friday sale. But my marketing team says, hey, to be in line with what we're doing, service, online, tech, that Cyber Monday more aligns with who we are over at Magazine Jukebox. So I said, okay, I trust my team, so I'm going to go with what they say. But I certainly had a different opinion on that. But that doesn't mean I'm always right. And I think that that's what makes a successful leader, is that understanding and recognizing you're not going to be right all the time, and that your team may get it right and they may not. We're all going to succeed and all going to fail. We're going to own it. That's in our core values. You got to own your mistakes, and we're going to go with this. You know what works this year or doesn't work this year, we will use next year to make us that much better. So for that purpose, I'm excited. But let's do this. Let's roll into the questions. Okay. And I'm going to try to get this sound keep going. I'm just going to bring it down a smidget, but we'll see how this works. Never know. Okay. So question one. So it's broken up into two categories on the questions. One is more personal and experience, and the other one is more business and industry. I'm reading these with you for the first time. We try to do this always on a one take. So that way I don't, you kind of catch me on surprise, and it's not like I have all this prep time to figure this out. Okay, so under personal, there's 4 questions today, and it says, first one, what's something you know now that you wish you knew at the start of your entrepreneurial journey? All right, so this is going to throw a lot of people for a loop here. So for those of you who know me, and it's kind of out there now, I did not complete high school. Actually, in fact, I dropped out of high school. I was in 11th grade, and I kind of saw school in my way. I moved around a lot, so I was in like 8 different high schools or something like that. It was hard. It was certainly hard. I was failing in some categories. I was kind of like a C, D student more than I was an A, B student. I was more like surprised. Like if I got a B, I was like, what? How did that happen? That was not meant to happen. That was a fluke. So, but what I've learned now that I wish I would have known earlier was I wish I would have completed school. I wish I would have gone to college and learned a lot of the stuff that I'm learning today, or learning the last 10 years. I probably could have learned in my first 4 years of college, going to either accounting or just even learning spreadsheets, or going to speech classes or something like that for speaking events. There's a lot of stuff that I've learned over the last 20 years that I could have learned in the first 4 years of college. So it's kind of a twist, because I'm also not a huge component for college. I think college is wonderful and great. But if you don't have to go, depending on your career choice, then save yourself some money and don't go. And what we're finding is people with 5 years of work experience are getting paid higher than someone who's just coming out of college for that same job. So it is kind of interesting. Pay attention to trends, do some research. Also, a cool note on research for your job choice is look at like historically, like during downward turns, like 2008, the real estate uh, crash. Look at how that line of business. Look at how that handled or managed through crisis, because what we know from the past is that it will happen again. And if it crashed before and your that job or profession was eliminated or destroyed or whatever, it could happen again. So just be mindful. And then if you go work for someone, make sure you look at how they handle layoffs versus hiring. Do they hire during the downturn? Do they lay off during the downturn? And just be prepared for that. It's typically last in, first out, but sometimes it's higher salaries first out. We're seeing a lot of that in the corporate world. Okay, so that's what I would have learned and went back, or what I know now. I would have gone back. Okay, next one, it says, how did you decide to go into business with your wife, and what are the benefits and drawbacks of having your wife as your business partner? Really, really, Meg, Lexi, who approved this question? Was Lauren in on this? All right. Okay, so Lauren is my wife. She is my absolute best friend. Her and I do everything together. That does not mean we get it right every single time. She is way smarter than me. She is way more accomplished than me. See, I've been doing this whole entrepreneur thing like 10 years before I even met her. And here she is, and she's like thriving as the CEO of her companies, and as in our, like, dealing with all that has to do with the insurance companies, and then dealing with everything here with uh, Magazine Jukebox as our CPO, Chief People Officer. And it's really incredible. And she wears so many different hats. So for me, what are the benefits is that I have someone on my team that emphatically is on my side. Doesn't mean she'll agree with me all the time, but I know that she will be looking out for the business every possible aspect like I am, and she will see things in a different light than I will. So there are some major benefits. Also, if I'm sick, she's there to help with the business, also take care of me. The whole man cold thing is always rough. Okay, so then the next question is, what are some drawbacks? So this is to anybody who's thinking about working with their spouse. Okay, the drawback is that if you work together all day and then you do life together at night or in the evenings and the weekends, what what is it that what keeps the fun and enjoyment in there? And so for Lauren and I, we love to laugh, we love family, we love being around family and friends. We essentially built our house around having guests over, and which is funny because you're going to get this again after Thanksgiving. We have like 20 or 30 family members coming to stay at our house or come and enjoy. Yeah, so I mean, we do that. We also have a really good ability with being able to let things go. Sometimes there are frustrating days at work. Sometimes there's frustrating days here at the house. And you just have to work. You got to kind of work through those frustrations. Um, and so, yeah, so I would say the benefit is you have a partner and someone who can step up when you need help and has the best interest in the company with you. I think the drawback is you just got to be really careful on making sure you're keeping your marriage focused first. My priorities are God, wife, children, company. Um, and that is the particular order. I think the better I am with my relationship with God, the better I am as a husband. I think the better I am as a husband, the better I am as a father. I think the better I am as a husband, father, in a relationship with God is the better I am as a CEO and a leader of a company. I think that's how that works. Okay. Have you had any other business partners in the past? Yes. Okay. This is a touchy subject for me. Because one of my very first company I started was a construction company with a good friend of mine. Actually, he was the best of friends. And, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made on both ends. And we ended up severing the company. And I lost my best friend in that mix. And if I could go back today, it would be I would never have gone into business with him. I had no business in construction. Heck, asked my wife about hanging a picture, and I'll put 30 holes in to find a stud. But I wanted to. I desperately wanted to own a business, and I learned a lot of lessons from it. It did branch off into my next company that I was successful in, but that company in particular was not worth losing the friendship. And if Mike ever listens to this, he knows that I have nothing but love for him, and I appreciate that him and I are somewhat cordial. But that's been 18 years now since that happened, and I still feel it today. So yes, I've had partnerships. I had another partnership that the guy was a complete tool bag, and yeah, I said it, and that just went south. But learn lessons. So if you're going to get into a partnership with someone, first of all, have an exit strategy set up first. Make sure you have a buy sell agreement from the insurance side, meaning that let's say you're both married and it's two gentlemen that are going into business together. You want to make sure you have an agreement, a life insurance policy set in place to pay off the spouse should something happen to you, and you both pay for each other. And the purpose of that is because you're in business with each other, not in business with each other's spouses. And so you may not agree with the spouse, or maybe the spouse, let's say, is a nurse, and you're in the construction business and has nothing to do with that. But then all of a sudden, that construction business was the breadwinner of the company or of the family, and so she's feeling led to jump in, but she knows nothing about it. That could be really detrimental. So that other partner needs to be able to pay her off, so that way the company can continue to thrive. And then also have an exit strategy before you're successful, and that's super important because you want to make sure that that exit is um, you want to make sure that that exit is prepared before you're in the millions, because then it's dealing more in percentages than it is for a dollar figure. So 20 or 50% of $1,000 is 500, or yeah, $500, but 50% of $1 million is 500,000, and 50% of 20 million is 10 million. And what ends up happening is one will work maybe more or less or different or whatever it is. And 10 years from now, you have a $5 million company and one is ready to get out, or you have a parting of ways. You don't want to then try to figure out who gets what. You want to say, well, we have it in the contract that I get 2.5 million of this deal. So, anyways, do that. That would be my recommendation. Okay, next question. Have I just answered that. Okay, so for share a bit about your educational journey and how that influenced your entrepreneurial journey. Well, we kind of talked about that. I didn't, again, one take, so I didn't know this question existed. My education a lot was revolved around reading magazines a lot. I love to dive in and learn specific things versus a collective, meaning like I don't want to go to college and take a drama class in order for me to have a degree in English. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to focus on English. So that's why I think technical schools are really, really good. But I learn, I listen, I do research. I learned how to research really well. My learning method is reading and listening at the same time. So I love like audible, or I love listening to something being read to me. Even when I'm doing my devotionals, it's being read and I'm reading at the same time, so it's following along, so it's really kind of sinking in. But that's my educational journey has really been surrounding myself with amazing people, and that's been really, really great. Okay, so look, that wraps up that last question. The last question really kind of tied into the other question too, so I talked about college already. But um, now the questions are more in line with business and industry. Okay. All right, ready to dive in? Here we go. Okay, first question. What is a book that has inspired you in your entrepreneurial journey that would be useful for young entrepreneurs? Okay. So, there's a book, I can't think of the author, but there's a book called um, oh shoot, what is it called? It's How I Built a $37 million agency in 7 years. And this book is really, really good, even if you don't own an insurance company. And at the time, I was starting an insurance company. Is that even if you don't own one, this is really good. And some of the big key takeaways there is like the sales approach. Like, what is the sales approach? And the sales approach to me, in this book was, don't be disingenuous. One of the most disingenuous things you can say to someone is like, "Hi, how are you?" Like, we all know that you're a telemarketer. We all know that you're cold calling when you do that. Instead, use something like, "Hey John, this is Scott. I'm so glad I got a hold of you. I've been trying to reach you." And he outlines this in his book. In fact, I'm gonna look it up because how I built a $37 million agency in 7 years. I'm friends with him on Facebook as well, or I mean, not Facebook. I'm not on Facebook. On LinkedIn. Okay, his name is Darren, Darren, and Sugiyama, I think it is, and which is Sugiyama, and on Amazon it has it for sale for $18 for paperback. Um, but I'll tell you what, this is what I'll do. Anybody listening to this and they share or comment on this and like it, I will personally send you this book for free. I will take care of the cost on this and send it over to you. But it's called "How I Built a $37 million Insurance Agency in Less Than 7 Years." Pretty incredible. So he talks about like being disingenuous, and then he talks about processes and people and services and people. And he says, processes and systems won't fail you, but people will. So you have to have a system and a process in place. So that way, you have to have that in place. So that way, when someone leaves or gets fired or whatever, then someone who comes in fills that spot. You're not having to necessarily replace the system. You're replacing the person. And I've always said that you can. I've always said that Uh, um, you can teach people, but you can't change the heart. And so if someone doesn't have a heart for it, then it's not going to work out. Okay. Next question. What does it take to provide a good customer experience? Why is it worth it to funnel time and energy into creating a good customer experience? Customer experience is your paycheck. Customer experience is everything. If you don't have a great customer experience in line, your company is doomed. And I'm saying that with all respect. It is doomed. Customers should and always come first. I know that that's kind of a departure over COVID where employees come first, but employees need to understand that if you don't have customers, you don't have a company. If you don't have a company, you don't have a job. It's that simple. Supply and demand. So you need to make sure you're taking care of your customers. This is key and most important. And what does it take to provide good customer experience? Being transparent, being honest, providing something maybe for free, providing a temporary enjoyment of something, entertainment for someone while they wait, just like what Magazine Jukebox does for all of their doctor's offices and car dealerships and coffee shops. I mean, you think about it, why is Magazine Jukebox so successful so far or so quickly? Well, it's successful because you have people that are waiting, and it's even a perceived wait time. Like if you're sitting there for 15 minutes waiting on a doctor to call you up, it feels like 15 minutes takes forever. That's a perceived wait time. But in reality, 15 minutes isn't that long, but you need something. And there also needs to be a courtesy from the business saying, "Hey, look, I respect and I appreciate that you have chosen us. So while you wait, I want to give you something to do or something out of courtesy." Now, you could take advantage of it or you could choose not to. But bottom line, we want to make sure that you know that you're valued, and customer experience is super important. Um, and why is it worth funneling time? Because that's where your revenue is going to come from, whether a one stop shop or a repeat customer. That customer experience is going to be pivotal. Okay. Next question? Question number three. What value does entertainment bring to the business where they are now, or where there is none? Entertainment is helps with all kinds of attention deficit disorders. Whether you have it diagnosed or not, we're all looking for ways to be entertained while we are waiting, while we are doing whatever. Whether that means that we are being entertained at home, YouTube's, Instagram. Think about it. Why does Instagram have reels? Why does TikTok exist? Because people want to be entertained, especially being entertained in short spurts. But then the next question is, or the next thought is with being entertained in commercial spaces, why this is so important is because the wait times have gone longer. Because while employment still continues to be an issue in filling positions, wait times are getting longer and longer. Not the perceived wait time, but the actual wait time. And because of that, people are becoming impatient. It's kind of ironic, right? Okay, so providing entertainment is, for me, is clutch. You've got to be able to provide that to your customers as a way of saying thank you, and as a way of keeping them entertained or satisfied. Okay, it took Uber 10 years to finally turn a profit. What do you think other businesses can learn from Uber in regards to turning a profit? Well, Uber and a lot of these other companies are on like these massive scales, right? Like if they make 1 million, they're going to dump 1.5 million into the company. If they make 5 million, they're going to dump 10 million in. So they're constantly raising capital, or they were turning a profit. And actually, I think that's wrong. I don't think it's 10 years. I think it took them 14 years to turn a profit. Um, Whoever's listening can fact check that, put it in the comments. That'd be great. Yeah, so but when they did turn a profit, they turned it big. I mean, I think quarter one was like $380 million in a quarter, to where they're going from raising billions of dollars. I think they raised billions, if not hundreds of millions, to get to where they're at. But then if you think about it, if they raise $500 million and then they can bring in $1 billion just about in a year. Think about that. Was the um, juice worth the squeeze? I would say yes. But investors have to believe, and they have to be on that journey with these startups. Um, they have to be really mindful of the timeline here. 7, 10 years, I think, can be ambitious. I know that's certainly ambitious on my end. 10 years, 15 years, maybe more of a reality. But I'm hoping not. So, but anyways, like, everybody, that that is actually going to wrap up the questions, believe it or not. So we made it through it. We made it through this journey. I was able to do this on a one take. Pretty exciting. I think we've zoned in on the mic here and sound. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I've got to find a new plug and how I can get some kind of song going for a long period of time. We'll see. Okay, so that being said, I am very thankful for you joining and tuning in. Thank you to our LinkedIn posts for being positive and encouraging. Thank you to Magazine Jukebox. Thank you to my marketing team for posing these questions. They continue to come at me, which is great. You're going to continue to see my background change a little bit as I'm still prepping this workspace for me as we do more remote work. And I think they did this on purpose. They want me to do more remote work so I get comfortable with it, so that way I don't want to come back to work. That's not going to happen, folks. Nice try, team. Nice try. But yeah, hey, look, stay safe, everybody. Enjoy time with friends and family. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to drop comments, likes, share us. Sharing is caring. And we'll see you on the next show. Thanks, everybody. See ya.